Hello everyone, my name is Tibor Grul. I'm a professor of ancient history at the University of Pécs, Hungary. In the next presentation, I'm going to show you how to read an ancient Christian inscription written in Koine Greek. You don't have to worry about the vocabulary and grammar because I prepared a detailed word list to this very simple text. All you have to know is how to read the Greek letters. Let's get started. As you see, I choose again a short and simple epitaph, which has been found at the catacomb of Via Salaria in Rome and dates back to the 3rd-4th century of the Common Era. The inscription can be found in the epigraphic database Bari. It has already been published in 3 important epigraphic corpuses, which is CIG, Corpus Inscriptionum Graecarum, ICVR, Inscriptiones Christianae Urbis Romae, and IGCVO, which means Inscriptiones Graecae Christianae Veteres Occidentis. Let us see first the diplomatic transcription. If you remember, in the so-called diplomatic transcription, we are going to record only the characters as they appear on the inscription with minimal or no editorial intervention or interpretation. Since the letters can be clearly seen, it doesn't look very difficult. So let's do it. I try to read the letters according to the standard Koine pronunciation, which slightly differs from that of modern Greek. In the first line we find P, Rho, Omega, Tav, Omicron, Sigma. In the second, Epsilon, Nu, Alpha, Gamma, Iota, Omega. Line 3, Pi, Nu, Epsilon, Ypsilon, Mu, Alpha. Line 4, Tav, Iota, Theta, Epsilon, Omicron, Ypsilon. Line 5, Epsilon, Nu, Theta, Mu, Epsilon. Line 6, Kappa, Epsilon, Iota, Tav, Alpha, Iota. Line 7, Phi, Iota, Rho, Mu, Iota, Lambda, Lambda, Alpha. Line 8, Alpha, Delta, Epsilon, Lambda, Phi, Eta. Line 9, Mu, Nu, Eta, Mu, Eta. And line 10, Epsilon, Chi, Alpha, Rho, Iota, and Nu. We have not yet dealt with the questions of paleography. This is a very important auxiliary science of historical research. Paleography is the study of ancient and historical writings, which deals with the forms and process of writing, not the textual content of the documents. In this inscription, it is conspicuous that some of the Greek letters differ from the conventional ones. Most conspicuously, the sigma, the mu, the omega, and the epsilon. These letters are called uncial or bookhand letters. But there is one exception. This is the alpha, which was apparently not written with the uncial character. Therefore, we could call the writing of this inscription as semi-uncial. The Greek uncial writing was widely used in writing books. The earliest manuscripts of New Testament were also written with uncial letters. We can probably venture the assumption that the stonecutter was familiar with bookhand writing, thus he was perhaps a bookish man. This might have been quite common either among Jews or Christians. But, and this is a big but, we cannot ignore that there are 2 serious scribal errors in this short text. The one is in the 5th line. The stonecutter carved a mu instead of an alpha and a delta. In the beginning of the 10th line, he made another mistake. He carved an epsilon instead of a sigma. Although misspelling is not uncommon in epigraphy, it is quite odd to make 2 mistakes in such a short text. I don't want to go too far, but I can imagine that this stonecutter who knew the Greek letters didn't understand Greek. Now we can see the addition of the text. Line 1, protos. In the second line, en hagio. In the third line, pneuma. In the fourth one, ti theu. Fifth line, enthade, literally enthme. And line 6, keitai. Line 7, firmilla. Line 8, adelphi. Line 9, mneme or mnimi. And line 10, s, karin, literally ekarin. In the first line, we find the name of the deceased, Protos, that is first. The Latin primus and its Greek equivalent protos was a commonly used first name in the antiquity. This is the most peculiar phrase in this epitaph, which refers to the Holy Spirit. It can be either related to Protos, who lived in the Holy Spirit, or to the next phrase, he lies, namely, in the Holy Spirit. For some reasons, I am inclined to the former solution. Later in this presentation, I will come back to this question. En plus ablative means in, it's a preposition. Hagio comes from hagios, hagia, hagion, which is an adjective. Pneumati comes from pneuma, pneumatos, to, which is a spirit, of course. It's a neuter noun. And theu comes from theos, which means God. The enthadekite, or keitai, is a typical formula in both Jewish and Christian epitaphs. Enthadekeitai. Enthade comes from, it's an adverb. It means here, or in this place. And keitai comes from keimai, to lie or to recline. Firmilla is a female form of Latin firmillus, which is the diminutive form of the cognomen firmus. The adelphi may either refer to a fellow believer or a blood sister, but the former is more probable. The mnemis karin is a typical closing formula in early Christian epitaphs, equivalent of the Jewish mneste formula. Remembrance is one of the most important messages of the epitaphs, both in Greco-Roman and in Christian or Jewish culture. Mnemes comes from mneme, memory, remembrance. It's a feminine noun. And karin, it's a postposition with genitive form, which means for the sake of or because of. Now we can translate the whole text. I changed the word order only once. The fifth, sixth line became the first in the translation for the sake of better understanding. The text is as follows. Here lies Protos in the Holy Spirit of God. Firmilla, his sister, made this for the sake of his memory. Here I have to bring up another very important issue. It is remarkable at first glance that this inscription doesn't contain any depictions, neither figures nor any symbols. Notwithstanding, it is unmistakably a Christian inscription. I assume that the deceased Protos and obviously his sister Firmilla might have belonged to a Christian spiritual movement that refused to use any depictions in religious life. Such a movement was Montanism, which spread over the Roman Empire in the 2nd century, but in some areas it survived down to the 5th century. Tertullian, who became an ardent Montanist in 207, not only stressed upon the role of the Holy Spirit in the Church, but vehemently condemned the use of imagery in religious life. I'm aware that it seems to be a far-fetched hypothesis, but I can imagine that Protos and his sister Firmilla might have belonged to Montanists in Rome. And finally, let us see some thought-provoking questions. Why did the sculptor use semi-uncial writing? What may the two scribal errors refer to? What kind of names are Protos and Firmilla? What can be the reason why the Holy Spirit of God is so prominent in the text? There are no pictures or any symbols on this plaque. Why do you think this is the case? Thank you very much for your attention.